which is going to help out. It's going to help out buyers. I don't know what is this. Oh, okay, got it. And so we're going to see more listings in the market, which is good. We need more listings. So interest rates kind of dipped a little bit. I'm not going to talk too much about it. Nelson is going to explain the interest and then the whole loan. So I think buyers, like even the beginning of the year, I'm seeing more buyers calling on my listings. People are just, they're like, okay, if they waited in 2023, this is the year they're gonna come back into the market. So I am seeing more buyer activity. And then even some sellers that maybe they don't want to trade that 4% interest rate they have. Now they're like, well, I really do need a bigger house, or I need a downsize, or I just don't, I want to build. So I am seeing some people that are like, you know what, I'll settle at 6.5% and I'm gonna still make that move. So depending on the home, we may see multiple offer situations again, since there's just more people in the market. There's still like, you know, first time home buyers. I mean, if there's a house under 400K, yeah, you're gonna see multiple people probably bidding, you know, that kind of price point. So I think it just depends on the house. We are seeing more new construction, which is gonna help. But I feel like new construction isn't necessarily affordable, but depending, I don't know, maybe in Fort Worth area, the prices are maybe a little more reasonable for new construction. But I think they're keeping up, they're trying to keep up with the demand for sure for housing. And home prices are still they're gonna stay the same or maybe slightly increase in some areas. I don't foresee a market crash. I know some people are just waiting for that, and depending.
Yeah, some markets may crash, but I think one thing maybe I'll make it a question, but certain markets seem to be more driven by like vacation home sales, like or second homes, like for example, parts of Miami. And then there's always speculation in markets like New York City, Manhattan. But DFW is sort of a real economy, Main Street market. There's not a lot of speculation except maybe at the highest end that I've seen, except maybe I don't know at the highest end of condos or something. Maybe that's to some degree speculative, but like real people are moving into these neighborhoods and homes and living in them, at least 2/3 of the time, it seems.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, it is an election year and we have all this wars and this, and I mean, I don't know, but I don't think like it's gonna, I don't think no administration is gonna want a crash during like the election year, you know? I feel like they're gonna do whatever they can to kind of like keep it stabilized.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I would say absolutely on the domestic front, as you already referenced. You would expect them to do the same on the international front, but perhaps this time it's different.
Yeah, right. Who knows? Um, and according to my sources, we don't expect interest rates to go lower than 6%, but I'm gonna let Nelson cover that as well. And then we also are not expecting a wave of foreclosures. Because like homeowners can easily just sell because they have a lot of equity. And is it a good time to buy or sell? I think I get this question a lot.
Me too.
Obviously buying a house, I mean, it's such a personal decision. So it really depends on you. Like, are your finances in check? Do you have a stable job? Are you going to live in that house for 5, 10 years or just 2 years? I mean, is it better for you to rent right now? I don't know.
I remember the old rule of thumb of 5 years. Is there a new rule? Is it now 10 years because interest rates and prices have both gone up? Or is it still the expectation still is like if you stay 5 years, you should be, you should be okay. You should be
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're staying there at least 3, 5 years or more, then yeah, you should, you know, definitely buy. Now people are kind of staying in their homes longer because of the interest rates, I feel like. Um, and then also, sellers, yes, it is a great time to sell. And there's obviously there was limited inventory and like, buyers just want more options. And um, so yeah, I think if you're selling, yes, it is an awesome time right now. Um, Especially, in March is kind of when the spring selling season starts. I think it's just gonna head off. So we're expecting like a good real estate market this year. And if you're looking to buy a house or sell a house, I do a lot of new construction in Rockwall. And I work with a local builder out there. So reach out to me and I have a lot of inventory coming up. So can definitely get you in a new house. New construction is great because you have the builder warranties, 10-year on foundation, structural. You have 1 year of all workmanship. So it has a lot of benefits getting into a new house as well. Or a pre-owned house. I mean, depends. Anyway, you can call me or text me or email me, and I'm always like I always have my phone. So I think communication is important to me. So I'll respond like pretty quickly.
Well, this is overall, this sounds like good news. I mean, there more construction, more activity in the markets generally is more liquidity is always good.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, thank you, Maggie.
of course.
Nelson, did you have any questions for Maggie or did you want to jump in with yours?
Oh, I can just jump in, I guess.
Okay,
Jump
great.
in. Oh,
She did a pretty good job there.
thank you. Um, let's see. How do I stop share? Okay.
Yeah, let me see if I can figure out myself here how to.
Nelson, you're also co-host. So if you go down to the far right corner where it says more and click on that,
Okay.
um, let me see.
Can
It
you
should
guys
let
see?
you, yeah, okay, great. You did it. Great.
Okay, awesome. Well, like I said, I'm Nelson Leonor. I'm out of the Preston and Northwest Highway location. I'm also moving. I'll have a second office on Spring Valley Road. It's really close to Galleria.
Oh,
Uh,
great.
so yeah, just because sometimes people we're
Well,
not
you
that far
close.
away, but the more up north you are, the better. Sometimes. I also gonna have because we open two new locations near Duncanville. There's one close to what used to be Redbird Mall down south on Camp Wisdom. There's gonna be that office, and then there's gonna be another one in Oak Cliff. No, I'm sorry, it's Hampton in Illinois. So I think I'm gonna be um, at that office as well. So I'll be between those three offices mostly, although I can move
Great.
around. Yeah, that way you have kind of like one down south, one up north, one kind of in the middle.
Makes
So you
sense.
can better serve people. Sometimes they want to come in the office and bring documentation or whatever.
Right. Oak Cliff is a booming area, right?
It is. I mean, South for the most part, it is becoming, little by little, large like north of Dallas. We definitely need more movement, from builders. But I think in 2024, it's going to be a year that it's going to be good for that. So anyway, kind of wanted to introduce myself that way, where I'm located. Like I said, I have 16 years plus experience. I'm a U.S. Army veteran as well. I am certified on U.S. What do you call them, VA loans. So I kind of know my way around that. I used to be a processor as well for VA loans a few years back. Kind of wanted to, feel more rounded in that area. So I'm kind of, knowledgeable several things on the VA loan side. Let me introduce Simmons Bank to you real quickly. So we began in 1903 out of Pine Bluff, Arkansas. We recently had our birthday, 120-year birthday last year. So we had a little, celebration for that. This data right here, it's kind of old, maybe a year and a half old, but we're probably more like into a $30 billion bank now, which is not too small. The banks that you see there are the banks that we have acquired uh, recently. Really, our growth started back in 2010 when we started acquiring banks, as you'll see in this graphic right here. In 2010, that's when we started growing quite a bit, and we acquire 1 to 3 banks each year. In 2017, that's when we moved to Texas. We bought Southwest Bank out of Fort Worth, and that's how we moved into North Texas and some areas in Texas. And in 2022, that's when we really got a little bit bigger in Texas, when we acquired Spirit of Texas Bank. So now we're not only in DFW, we're also in Austin, San Antonio, Corpus Christi, and Houston. I think our biggest markets are going to be Dallas and Houston, where we have more locations. Here in Dallas, we have now 20. And in Houston and kind of like the surrounding areas in Houston, we're like, believe it's 10 or 11 now. They stopped, as you can see, buying banks in 2023. We didn't buy any. I think what they're wanting to do between 2023 and 2024 is kind of, get everybody on the same page, since there's several banks here in the last 10 years that we've been buying, and everybody in the same platform and same culture and all that stuff. And then I think they're going to start doing it again, just because they want to keep on growing. So let's go to the industry updates real quick. Let's talk about what they've done as far as the conforming loan limit. So on the conforming loan limit, as you can see, in 2016, we were at 417,000, way far from that. In 2024, they went up to 766,550 now, which is a 5.6% increase from 2023. And you can see the previous years here, 2023 and 2022, how, that was a huge jump. And that's because, I think the pandemic kind of fueled that in a way. And then lower interest rates during the pandemic, people moving in to different states, especially Texas, where the market just grew really quick. And people just grew their home equity by a lot. And there was a problem with people, trying to get into homes, because they were offering 50, 60,000 over listing and all that. But that changed now.
Yeah, definitely changed.
Right?
I feel like you have to be more reasonable. I should have mentioned that with the housing prices, there's no way that you want to overprice your house now, because I am seeing houses kind of sit on the market. Because people see it, they're like, with the interest rate, like, they're not going to bother with an overpriced house.
Exactly. Yeah, they're not. I
Right.
mean, it's it turned from a seller's market to a buyer's market, pretty
I
much.
feel like, yeah, buyers are a little bit in control now with the interest rate.
So yeah, so I think this year is gonna keep on being a buyer's market. And I think rates will help in that regard. So let's jump into some new stuff that investors have. They've been talking about it, but then now they have implemented this. So Fannie Mae raised the LTV on multi-unit primary residence. It used to be, depending if it's 2 unit, 3 unit, 4 unit, they would limit you on how much they can finance. So now you pretty much are at 5% down for multi-unit if it's 2, 3, or 4 unit properties. So they'll do 95% loan to value. And that, of course, will exclude any cash out refinances. As y'all know, I think Texas was the only one at one point where they would limit you to 80% cash out. Now it's, I think, pretty much every state in the union, it's at 80%. Now, as far as Freddie Mac, they're restricting non-occupying borrowers on cash out refinances. So what they want now is anybody that's on the loan, they need to be living at that property. So they're not doing that anymore. They have to pretty much, everybody that's on the loan, they have to live in the property. All right, some other updates basically for the DACA recipients, deferred action for childhood arrivals. So it's very important for they to renew before expiration of that document, because otherwise, that's it. You don't have any legal status anymore. And so that's very important, especially for loans. What they are requiring, and I mean, they've required some of these documents before. It's just that now the difference is that if it is going to expire within 12 months of the note date, they're going to want additional documents such as the history of renewals and or the proof that the borrower has to reapply, for that EAD. So they're really kind of like being picky about the documentation part. So the other thing, let's talk about rates, because we were just going over it. So if you look at the graph here, you can see that around December, beginning of December, rates were kind of like in the high sevens, and then around mid-December of last year, they started to come down a little bit, and then all of a sudden they just dipped, right? They went down all the way, and right now the average for the last 4 weeks, I've seen a rate of 6.6. I'll say 9, yeah, but around 6.6 or so, 6.625. Sometimes we have some days where it's at 6.5, somewhere in there. Of course, we're talking about a conventional loan. We're talking about FHAs. Those are usually lower than any conventional ones. And
And why is it lower? Just because it's a federal loan, or?
Yeah, so usually FHAs has been like, they have been like that for forever, like that. I mean, in some instances where we had that those rates in the 3s and the 4s, you could even see that rate going about 0.75 lower than the conventional. And it's mainly just to help the first time home buyer people to come into the market. They give them a lower rate. And the good thing is that it doesn't matter your credit score, as long as you have a 620 FICO score, you're gonna get the same rate. That's how they help people enter into real estate and buy their primary. So interest rates are determined by trading levels in the bond market. Bond yields and rates move higher when inflation is high, and the market has been waiting on signs of lower inflation before trading in a way that allows, the interest rates to move lower. Now, usually they look at the consumer price index, and what I mean is the traders, right? Um, and that is a monthly report. And this was released 2 weeks ago, except I put last week here, but it was 2 weeks ago. Um, and the market was seeking signs of an inflation that is nearing the Fed, the Fed's target levels. Um, so the report kind of stopped short of providing resounding confirmation that, yeah, inflation, it's been defeated. So in recent months, what they've been showing is showing more and more promise regarding a return to inflation levels that would allow for significant lower rates, which I think we are going to get definitely lower rates. I'll talk about it here in a sec. But now the CPI has given false hope before, so they kind of like traders are going into another report, which is called the Producer Price Index, and so they are seeing better evidence of inflation definitely going down. So if we can compare both of those, the consumer price index is like what you and me pay basically for services and products, and the other one's quite like, let's say stores like Kroger, the others pay for their merchandise and services and then sell it back to you. So if they compare those two, they can see that they're definitely going down. And this is a comparison of the two. If you look at the blue line on the left, that's basically the producer price index. And then you see the orange is the consumer. And you can see the trend that they are both going down. So that's why they feel more confident.
Better late than never, finally.
Right? And if you look at the chart on the right, you have the interest rates which correlate with the two reports. They're all three going down because the other two, it's a measure of the economy and how everything's
So
going.
that on my right-hand side chart, 30-year fixed mortgage rate indices, the blue line mortgage news daily. Okay, so that's the index of the mortgage rates that mortgage news tracks,
Yeah,
and the other one's Freddie Mac. Okay.
right. Which is kind of like almost the same, pretty much.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
have
I'm
to
surprised
understand.
they're
Hmm?
close, but
What was that?
they're close, but they're not like the blue line's much bumpier than the Freddie Mac line.
Yeah. So
Which
you
makes
have to understand
sense. I
that,
just thought they'd be closer to each other.
yeah, from lender to lender, when they're negotiating interest rates between Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae and stuff like that, each lender has, just different rates, not much of a difference, but the way that works is, Freddie Mac is usually you're gonna see that line a little bit lower because that's what they're pretty much paying, and then what the banks are paying is something else. They got to keep a little bit of uh, a profit, right? So that's
Right.
why there's a little difference there. So it's time to buy your home. Let's talk about that.
Yes.
That's important. So, like I said, there's some good news, and like for example, this bank, we did have a down payment assistance program last year, but it wasn't as big as the new one that we have. So this year, they're actually going up on it, and we are providing assistance for up to 20,000. Um, this is for first-time home buyers. Okay, and the funds are first come, first serve. They are good for the whole year, but usually, first come, first serve, there's only a certain amount of funds. we're expecting for those to go maybe by the mid-year, maybe July. So that's something that we can use for any loans that they decide to use to do their primary on.
That's
And
great.
this is actually not only for people that have a social security number, but for people that don't have, that they are doing their taxes with an I-10. So we can use that program to
And
help.
I can help both of them with the tax part.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Of course, they will ask you that you at least bring 500 of your own money to closing. But what's good about this is that you can use that 20,000 up to 20,000 for not only the down payment but closing costs as well.
Oh, so both. That's great.
Yeah. So now this program is, of course, aside from whatever loan guidelines, whatever they use, right? So some loan guidelines or loans that we have don't have any prepayment penalties, if you refinance, whatever. This one, if you use the grant, it is subject to a 5-year retention period. Okay. I mean, if you get help for a primary, and if you look at it, 5 years is actually the average amount of time that someone keeps a home. Okay. Especially if it's a first time home. They
Yeah.
want to usually move, to something bigger within, I'll say 5 to 7 years. But 5 is the average in the US. They do have to have,
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
I was gonna ask, is there a credit score?
That's
they-
the wonderful thing about this, because there's no credit.
Oh,
Yeah, they don't have to have any credit in particular. Of course,
awesome.
the loan program, the loan program does have, that particular guideline that you have to have a credit score of 620 usually. But this program, it's not based on credit. It's mainly based on the household income
Mhm.
and where you're gonna go buy the house.
Okay.
It will change. And when I say household income, I don't mean the people that are applying. Like if I have 1 or 2 and then 5 live there with incomes.
Right.
I mean, it's different, right? So we're looking at household, not the people that are applying. So it's
everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody. So hopefully, I think even if 4 or 5 live in there is usually a family, of 2 adults, 3 children or something like that, and it's not going to affect them as far as that. It's actually going to help them, because the more people live in there, the higher the income limit they can have. So there you go. I think it's going to be a great program to implement with other loans. It's going to help a lot of people, and it's definitely going to increase, the value, as far as who's getting help and all that. The next slide, let me talk about the 2 loans that are definitely gonna take advantage of this program. One is the 100% Advantage, which pretty much both are the same kind of guidelines and stuff. The only thing that changes is that the people that have a social security number, they can take advantage of the 100% advantage by putting 0 down, and all they bring is their closing costs. So if you combine that with the down payment assistance, I mean, people pretty much could get into a home with $500. And then we have the I-10 Advantage, which they have to bring 10% down. Again, we can combine it with the down payment assistance program, and up to 20,000. I mean, that's going to help a lot. Each of these products are location of property in income limitation base. Now, the property location and income limit, they do like by county in this program, not to, be confused with the down payment assistance. It's two different things. So on these two particular loan programs, the income limit increases by county. Usually in the DFW area, though, the counties surrounding the DFW area, that has been increased this year to 126 or more, almost 127,000, and that's not household. Okay, that is basically whoever applies. If they don't exceed that, then they can enter in any of these two programs. Okay, they do have to have a 620 FICO score, but that's if they have credit. If they don't have credit, that's not a problem. We can build them a non-traditional credit report. And the way I do that is I get, for example, their verification for their rental, property or apartment for the last 12 months. Maybe a utility bill for the last 12 months, maybe something personal like a cell phone, like they're paying auto insurance for the past 12 months. And once I have three, trade lines, then I can build them a credit report, and it's automatically good to go. I went over the down payment requirements for each of those. Property types, we can do single family, condos, townhomes. And let me tell you, condos is very important on here, because if you do condos in other loans, they have a lot of restrictions. But
Why is that? I mean, I'm almost surprised that condos still exist in a way.
believe it or not, they're becoming a little bit more popular these days because they're much cheaper.
Yeah, I'm not, you're the residential real estate experts, not me. What's making them more popular again?
I mean, I feel like if, if the condo is in a good area and it's cheaper, then some people may, I mean, prefer that, unless, I mean, a lot of people have dogs, so I don't know. Maybe they do need a house or, but yeah, I think the price for sure has a lot to do with it.
So with dogs, I have three. So a condo's pro dog or anti dog?
Um, I think it just depends on the place, I mean, I don't know. I mean, for me, I would prefer a house with a yard if I had dogs and stuff like that. But, and then also the HOA fees,
Yeah,
which
I'm
I
just
feel like are a con to condos and those kind of associations.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, the definitely the HOA, it's sometimes what kills the deal on my end over here, because sometimes they're very high. If it's 25, maybe $100 a month, it's okay. But there's some of these fees that are like 400, 500. I mean, some crazy amount.
Yeah,
And it just, yeah, they can't do that. It just kills the deal because they cannot afford, or their debt to income.
yeah, I mean,
ratio goes.
when that fee is half of the, half or a third of the mortgage loan payment.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not gonna go for that.
yeah.
exactly. So I probably in December, yeah, I think it was December. I did a condo for an I-10 client, and he was having a very difficult time for somebody to do a condo in an I-10. Because see, the condominiums are a little difficult, because if you do a regular conventional loan on a condo, they have to do this questionnaire, and they have to have a certain amount of reserves. They have to have a certain percentage of primary residence. Can be a bunch of investors in there. So, but with our loan here, we do require a questionnaire, but It's like a small version of the other one. It doesn't require as much. So I was able to close it. And this is on either the I-10 or the 100% Advantage. So the rate on our program does change every first of the month. So next month is going to be changing. Hopefully going lower. Right now it's at 7.625. So hopefully it will be lower, because I know in December it was 8.625. So that's going to be a good thing for us. It is a term for 30 years fixed. It's got no prepayment penalties, both of these programs. But remember, if you do use the down payment assistance, you will have that 5-year agreement you have to sign. Okay. The interested party contributions or concessions is up to 6% of the sales price. There is no mortgage insurance on these. So whenever you have a borrower that does not put 20% down on a mortgage, usually on a conventional, you have what's called a private mortgage insurance, PMI. On an FHA, you'll always have it. It's for life. So that's something that you want to just review well, if that's okay with you. But you can always refinance out of an FHA, if you can't do a conventional at the time. So no mortgage insurance. And usually the mortgage insurance decreases as you put more down payment. Just FYI, on a conventional loan, it will go lower compared to somebody, you put 15% down compared to somebody that puts 5% down. The 15% down client is going to have a much lower mortgage insurance. In this program, or any of these two programs, you cannot own any other properties. You can own land, lots, that kind of stuff, but no other properties. Because remember, this is for first-time home buyers. Okay. Documentation real quick that you'll have to have. The only thing that changes between the two programs is that on the I-10 loan, they need the last 3 years tax returns, but the rest of the documents are pretty much the same. You'll need W-2s, you'll need pay stubs, you're gonna need bank statements, depending on which account you're gonna use for your down payment or paying, the closing costs and stuff like that. There are some other documents that you need on the I-10. For example, they don't have an ID, so they'll need a passport, unexpired passport. They both do have to have a home buyer education certificate. And if you do the down payment assistance, they do require a certificate as well. So you'll be doing that for both programs. You don't have to do it twice. Now these are the counties usually where we do these loans at. Of course, the upper portion is the DFW area, so we can do it in Palo Pinto County, Parker, Denton, Collin, Tarrant, of course, Dallas, Kaufman.
Hey, can I jump in? I know we're getting close to the end, but
Sure.
every time I have family that actually lives up a little past Denton and Sanger, but time I drove up there, I'm just so, okay, guys, I know, we all know Texas is booming, DFW is booming, North Dallas is booming.
Yeah.
But Texas is booming, but to Denton and North Texas, it's just, wow. I've been here 8 years and visiting, on a regular basis, let's say 2 more years. In the last 10 years, really the growth in Denton's amazing.
Oh yeah. I don't know if you've been over there in Sherman. That place is like booming as well. With all the tech
Okay,
stuff
so
up there.
Sherman, help me out, Maggie. I'm trying to see where on this map is Sherman?
So
Sure.
where you see Collin County, up from there, they're in Grayson County.
It's like, yeah, Grayson.
So it's like right on the border with
Yeah, with Oklahoma. Yeah. So
And what's
unfortunately,
rules determine?
yeah,
There's a lot of like all the tech stuff got moved up there, and they're building a lot of
yeah.
facilities for like the, I think IT or something like that.
Oh, fascinating. I wasn't aware of that. That's
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah.
I don't go up there too often, but the last time I did, I was like, holy crap.
So yeah, but it's definitely I think all over DFW is just growing, but no, up north is the one that you can see that's really booming. People are just moving a lot more up north, even though it's a little bit more expensive, but that's where all the big companies are at.
And what's this county? These are counties, right? What's the county right below Dallas? Is that Ellie or Elsie? Ellis?
Or Ellis.
Ellis.
So why is that the one county like right on the periphery with Dallas that's not growing? All the others, Denton, Collin, Rockwell, Kaufman, Tarrant, Johnson are all growing. What's up with that one? With
Well,
the without
in
one?
our case, it's not that Ellis County is not growing because it is. It's just that I believe that the bank can only serve the counties that where it's present. So if they have a branch near, or I think it's a certain mileage from the branch, then they can go ahead and do that. There's other things, some other red tape and stuff, but I think that's mostly the reason why. It doesn't mean that it's gonna change, in the next few months or maybe next year, but that's where they are right now, and we can use those programs there. If you go towards the bottom, kind of like in the middle of Texas, you got Williamson and Travis. That's basically Round Rock, Austin area. If you go below that, you'll see Comal and Guadalupe, all those. That's San Antonio area right there. And of course, if you go down to the Gulf region over there, it's Montgomery, Harrison, Fort Bend. That's the Houston area and surrounding. And then at the very bottom, which is Nueces over there, that's basically Corpus Christi.
And then South Padre is even further
Yeah,
south.
actually, South Padre is like the next county below.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then Mexico.
yeah, and unfortunately, yeah, we don't service South Padre. Okay, so pretty much these are the parameters of the how much they can make up to that much in those counties so that we can put them in those loan programs. As you can see, I mean, they can be easily making a six-figure income. They can still be within those limits. Um, and that's pretty much it. That's my information. You can go down to apply online, and that's my webpage where you can get some more information about me. And you can also, of course, call me at the office or my cell phone, which is 214-392-4499. Just like Maggie, we don't have schedules, so you can call at any time, text.
I know, right?
Maggie, can you want to share your contact information again?
So the cell phone is 214-392-4499. If they want to text me or call me, you can call my office, but it's pretty much I have it to where it'll just forward it to my cell phone.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And Maggie, your cell phone number again is, or and your email?
Yeah, 469-360-7978. Call or text. Sometimes I feel like I work, I mean, it could be 9 to 9. It's not like
That's because you
not set
do.
hours.
We work odd hours.
Yeah, it's like random.
Yeah, and folks, for me, if you have any tax related questions, Nelson mentioned ITIN several times. For those of you that have an ITIN versus a social security number, work with a lot of international folks who have an ITIN. There's nothing wrong with that. It's actually good. So I'm easiest to reach by email. Andrew Barker at middlemarketadvisory.com. And thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Maggie. Thank you, Nelson. And we'll look forward to half-year update, something like that.
Definitely.
Yes. Thank you so much for setting this up again. It was great
Yeah.
to start off the year this way.
Yeah,
There's
appreciate that. Thank you so much.
the experts that live in the, living it every day, which are you guys. So
Of course.
thank you.
Yeah,
All right,
appreciate
we'll
it.
talk soon, everybody. Ciao.
All right, see you,
Yeah, till
guys.
next time.
Yes.
Bye.
Have a good one, guys.